3-point shooting and then the flopping, and it's just there's a lot of things that have to change, man.
Speaking of
you know who I think
flopping,
started it? You know who I think started it for real, like on a mainstream level, and this is a hot take, and I'm a huge fan of his. I watched his entire career. LeBron James started this shit, bro.
You know,
LeBron James made it cool to sit out. He made it cool.
It's funny you say that because
he made it cool to sit out. There would be a national game, Cavs versus Warriors, and it'd be like LeBron is out, Amon Shumpert is out, R.J. Smith is out, the whole squad, and they're on the bench just chilling, smiling, hanging out, and it would just be rest.
It's
he started that shit.
No, it's funny you say that, right? And the operative word you said was mainstream. Because when it's funny when the Spurs do something, well, we you know, and they're the only ones doing it, we always say, oh, that's just the Spurs being the Spurs.
It's the Spurs, right?
Spurs being the Spurs,
because Leonard was sitting out too with the Spurs,
right?
Kawhi been sitting out for 10 years.
Tony, Ginobili, he rested everybody.
Right. You know, we would just chalk it up to say, you know what, that's the Spurs doing Spurs shit.
They just do that.
But then when the league adopts a Spurs mentality, right, a la, like you said, LeBron James making it mainstream, it's like, okay, wait, what the hell's going on, right? It's almost like it's not about who did it first, it's about who did it best.
Yeah.
And you could argue LeBron James was definitely, you know, in that, right? But that also begs the question, right? At that point, you know, LeBron, I guess for me, in the context of this conversation, LeBron put a lot of miles on them wheels, man.
He did.
All those deep playoff runs. Like 7, what was it? What was it, like 7, 8 seasons going to the finals? Like,
I don't know.
Like, so I can kind of make sense of it for him, but you know, when the league starts adopting it as a whole, it's like, all right, man, like
everybody's doing it.
I don't think he invented it. I think that he embraced it. I think the sports scientists, modern day sports medicine, and all the studies and everything, they were like, you know, we should rest you this many games per season to have you here, and like all of the analytics and everything is what really started it, because back in the day, it was like there wasn't much of a thought process going into that. It was just we play every night, and Iverson's out there with fractured wrist and something else, and he's still getting bodied, still going hard. And the NBA has to find a way to get that back. I don't know what the answer is, man.
What do you guys think is the biggest issue? Like, what's the paramount issue, guys? Because we named a few issues, right? The 3-point shooting, the flopping, and the inconsistent refereeing. What do you guys think is the biggest issue that they have to fix?
I think they need to change something about the game, because what I think happened is the really smart people figured it out. You know, for most of the NBA, it was just the athletes running everything, right? And they were like, we go, we play hard, we play physical, we body, we dunk on people, we do this. And at some point, the smart people who may have never played basketball at all started to get into these positions, and they were like, wait a minute. Some genius was like, did you know that 33% from 3-point range is better than 50% from 2?
Right.
Like, it is.
Adds up.
They were like, so why are we going in the paint, getting physical, getting injured, when we could just shoot threes? And, you know, that, and then the resting, these guys were like, well, it's, you know, studies show that if you rest this much, then this. So they figured it out. I don't know what the answer is. They figured it out. That's a big problem. The difference between 3 and 2 is a huge problem, because it's too much of a difference. 3 is way too much of a difference from 2, because if 33% from 3 is better than 50% from 2, there's a problem.
That's insane.
Now they figured it out.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and if they're shooting at a high percentage of your team, that team is
so what can you
gotta
change?
match them.
You gotta almost
match them.
So do we have to see? Because I want to still maintain the integrity of the game.
Right.
But like, how do you deconstruct it and rebuild it in a way that maintains the integrity? Do we change the point system?
I don't think.
I think so. That's what I think.
How could you though? Like, how could you?
I don't know, but I think, Mike, I'm gonna let you go for a second. But I think here's what I think. I think that the NBA has eras, and you know, there was a pre-3-point era where there wasn't even a 3-point line. They added the 3-point line, and that was a major change. Everybody's scared to make a major change, but they made that major change.
Right.
I think it's starting to get time to make another major change. And I don't know if it's change it to 3s and 4s.
That's what I was about to say.
Crazy, but
yeah, I was gonna say
maybe change
the scoring being usually 200
4-point line.
But it would bring the physicality back to the game, because that 4-point shot isn't as much of a difference from the, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be as valuable as a shot. The 3-point shot is too valuable.
Right.
That's what I think.
So where would you put the 4? Like, where would it be at? Like, Like
The
right,
same. Just
the same.
Also, just keep the structure of the court the same. Just change turn 2s to 3s and 3s to 4s.
yep.
I don't
Yep.
know.
2s or 3s and 3s or 4s.
But the math is still the same, right?
It would be a
Right.
200-point game or whatever. But the 4-point shot would not be as valuable anymore because 3 is so much more than 2. 4 is not
Right.
that much more than 3. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
What
You're
about
going from 33%
I don't know, man.
difference to 25% difference.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying.
I would like it to be even less than that. Change it to
what if
4s and
you-
5s.
4s and 5s. Oh my goodness gracious.
My man right here, Rank Scrub, he mentioned moving the 3-point line back a little bit.
Yeah, make it harder.
I feel like
Make it harder.
Making,
That
making
might-
the shot harder
Yeah.
would force or if anything, right?
They're already shooting it from out there, though.
Get rid of the okay, you know how the 3-point line goes all the way around to the corner, right? Like widen it. Widen the 3-point line so it makes it more difficult to shoot. And even if you pull up from the corner, it's a 2-pointer. You get what I'm saying? It makes people less inclined to shoot 3s.
I don't know,
Because
man.
the shortest distance for a 3-point shot is that corner shot.
The corner shot. Right.
Yeah.
That's the shortest
You
distance.
could take away the corner. You could take away the corner 3 in general. You could just have an arc at like the
Art just
At like the
going
top.
like
It's the arc.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
that connects with the out of bounds line.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. I can see that.
That will cut down on
I can
3-point
see that.
attempts.
I can
That will
see
cut
that.
down
I don't-
3-point attempts, and it'll increase the value of them. And teams will actually have to game plan for how they want to include 3s in their mode of action. You know what I mean?
Whew. Man, I don't know. They said DeRozan would retire. Yeah, he probably would retire.
Actually, if you widen the 3-point line and made it just the arc, DeRozan might extend his career a little bit with those 2s.
There was a dude that called. There was a dude that called into this Sirius XM NBA show that I listened to, and he was like, "I think you should make it so that only 10 threes a game count, and you got to use them whenever you want. You if you save it to the fourth quarter, or
Oh, I like that too, though. Because
that's tough,
only
though. How do you legislate that on a regular basis? Like that's kind of hard to legislate. Just
once you make 10 threes, the rest of them are worth 2.
oh, okay.
I like that. I
So
like
you're not-
that. I
okay,
like
yeah,
that.
okay, so you're not necessarily saying if you shoot a 3, that's a foul. You can't do that. No, like let them keep playing. But once you hit your 3 quota, everything else
That's
counts as
it.
2s for your team.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like that. I like that. I think that's a good
And that's
idea.
a more direct
Yeah.
way of being like, listen, you guys are making too many threes, so now you're only allowed to make 10. There,
Yeah.
simple solution.
Right.
It's
Right.
Joseph Jackson said that could be a little too messy. I understand what he mean by that. Like it's really technical. Like it's something you really got to keep track of.
Right.
And also it would affect stats as well, and how guys 3-point efficiency. Like it would really affect man.
Yeah. But then it would, in the history books, the 3-point era would stand out, and that would just be what it is. It would be like, yeah, look at these 10 years. That was before they made this change.
That's a good point. And it would discourage teams from allowing their bigs to take their 3-point shots.
Right. Yeah. It's
I'm
like,
not-
it's like,
I'm
it's like
not- I'm
I
not
dare
wasting
you
my-
to shoot a 3.
I'm
You
not
better
wasting my 10 threes on
Right.
Joel Embiid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I like that.
Hey, listen, man.
That ain't a bad idea.
Unfortunately, we don't get paid the big bucks to make those decisions. So,
But yeah, it was the I was just watching a montage of like the 50 best dunks in NBA history or whatever, and I'm like, damn, man, like I feel like it used to be a nightly thing where it was just a lot more physical. There was guys attacking the rim way more than they do now.
Yeah. And that's why I like John Morant, man. John Morant, I like the way he plays the game, bro. He don't be just settling for threes. He gonna drive to the lane. He gonna try to dunk on your face.
it's a Derrick
I
Rose
like
mentality.
that, bro.
I like that.
I love it, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
and also I miss the days where I don't know if you guys remember this back I can't remember if it was 2K11. I can't remember if it was 2K11 or 12. The one where Michael Jordan was on the front for the first time. Remember how if you guys play 2K, you know how you can when you call a timeout, you can change your sets. You know what I mean? I feel like now we're not seeing too many unique sets and too many creative sets anymore, right? It's pretty much everybody just camp out on the 3-point line. You may have one big in the paint for the most part. Like you're not seeing the strategy behind the game anymore, in my humble opinion.
Right.
And and that's mainly because of the 3-point shot. Right.
It took a lot out of the game.
Yeah, I love seeing the creative. I was watching Eastwood. You mentioned a montage about dunks, right? I was watching like a montage of some of the Spurs' best plays and best moments or whatever, and I'm just seeing how they're passing the ball, guys are driving, kicking it. Like I'm just seeing the creativity and the sets and the screens they're doing and the ball movement. I'm seeing the creativity, and you're seeing the strategy. And I'm like, the game lacks strategy now. You know, it's just threes and layups. There's no real art to it anymore.
It's not. It's boring.
There was a specialist like, in the late 90s and stuff. I feel like every team had a 3-point specialist. You know, it was only one guy. Steve Kerr on the Bulls. It was only one guy that was really the specialist.
Yeah, Robert Horry on the Lakers, and like you had your specialist.
Now everybody's a 3-point specialist.
Right,
you know,
everybody, the centers, everybody. It's like imagine Ben Wallace shooting threes. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has to shoot a 3 now. You know, it's crazy, man. But how do we stop the flopping though, y'all? How do we stop that? Wembanyama
flop was out of order.
Carlos, thanks for the super chat. Let me read. It has to do with the same thing. Carlos said, you know, the NBA will always screw the fan. They do what they do. The NBA is doing too much experimenting, and these refs, SMH. Yeah, go ahead. Continue what you were about to say.
Yeah, what are we going to do about the flopping? Like, how can we slow it down? Because I feel like it just went. I don't know, man. That's messing up the game as well. Like that one foul that Victor Wembanyama barely got touched by Andre Drummond. He went flying across the court like someone gave him.
That's the thing.
He didn't touch him at all,
like,
really. And he just went flying on the court, and they ejected him out the game. And then they did the replay, and they're like, "Yo, you barely got touched," and they gave us a technical free throw. But my whole thing is, what are we going to do to stop that? Because I think that's another thing that's messing up the game with the flopping and over exaggerating. That's why I say the NBA players, their second career should be acting. Because the way they be acting and making it seem like they're getting beat up and all that, they make a lot of money. They'll make a lot of money.
Mike, it's funny you say that. I think you have to up the repercussions or the consequences of flopping, right? Yeah.
Fines, right?
Not just fines,
suspension.
If you a suspension, because flopping is not only slowing the game down, you're fucking with the integrity of the game now,
right?
And on top of that, honestly, I think one of the easiest things you can do is stop calling fouls. Redetermine what's a foul. You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day, you had to really sock somebody to get a foul. You know what I'm saying? And I low-key hate starting sentences with back in the day because it makes it sound really old. But the reality is, right, you can't even breathe on these dudes. You can't breathe on them. And the one ref, she ejected Andre Drummond, and all of a sudden, I screwed up. Let's bring it back in. Like, we ain't got time for that. Just get it right. It right. Make it very clear what a foul is. Make it very clear. Like, stop calling them for every little thing. I think that's how you stop the flopping.
And then they'll wait until they miss the shot to call a foul. So if they would have made it, you wasn't going to call the foul? Like, late calls.
That call on Drummond was an emotional call because just the play before that, she called a foul on Drummond for he tried to push through a Wemby screen and Wemby flopped. She called that foul. It looked like an aggressive push because Wemby threw himself on the floor. So the very next possession, all she saw was Wemby slide across the floor again, and she assumed. And I don't want to say that, you know, male ref versus female ref.
They all suck, honestly. I'm being honest. They all suck. They all suck, if you ask me.
Yeah. At least she admitted she was wrong. You know,
right? I've never seen that before. I'll give her credit for that.
How did she say it though?
But how
did she say I was wrong or I effed up? Because I keep seeing different.
Yeah, she said I fucked up. My bad.
Okay, good. I like that.
She walked up the nurse and I think she tapped.
But I want to know why though. Why did you mess up like that? Because you didn't see the foul happen. So how did you go through whatever training there is to be an official? And you just saw a guy slide across the floor and assumed something and kicked somebody out of the game, and you didn't see what happened.
It's like no other ref seen it. Like, why didn't they correct her? Like, yo, like
they did.
Then why ain't they correct her? Like, yo,
well,
like this is not what happened. Like
they walked right over to as soon as the replay went up on the screen, they were like, oh shit, and they went over to the side and had the conversation about it and brought him back in the game.
But that conversation should have happened before you decided to eject him.
Yeah, right. You know, emotional.
You know what I'm saying? Like that conversation should, like in the NFL, right? If someone throws a flag or whatever, and it's kind of iffy, they meet real quick. Blah 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 blah. All right, no foul on the play or no penalty on the play. Let's play ball. Like
Well,
it shouldn't have been an ejection. It should have been a conversation first.
Right.
It's the
I
fact
agree.
That, it's
I
the
agree
fact
with
that she wasn't even calling just normal fouls. She was calling technical fouls. She was
She was
teeing
like
them up for these.
technical.
Yeah, she wasn't just calling a foul that wasn't a foul. She was throwing out tees, bro. She was on a heater. She was throwing.
You get a technical.
She was trying to set a record for technical fouls. But I think the biggest problem is that, and this probably started. This started. I feel like this started the most with 2016 James Harden. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. But what he mastered is tricking the officials. What he mastered is moving my body in a way that looks like the defender fouled me. He mastered it, and it was a problem then. And now it's because the game is too fast, and the players are good at making it look like a foul. And then you see the replay, and you're like, wait a minute, that wasn't a foul. So the only way to really fix it, I think, is to have somebody, a team of people reviewing every single game and watching it in slow motion and saying what was obviously an intentional flop, and send them $100,000 fine. Boom, done. They'll stop.
That
doing
will
it.
stop
They'll
that
stop
shit.
doing
Yeah,
it so
right.
fast.
Right. 100. You said you went 100,000.
You
Listen,
make
you
it
start
egregious.
checking these guys' pocket. Listen, that's the quickest way. That's the quickest way to make a guy tighten up, attack his pocket.
Right. Stop diving on the floor and screaming at the officials and all this stuff. That's the only way to stop it, dude, because the officials aren't going to be good enough to see it in fast motion because the players are so good at making it look like a foul.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, and this is my final point about this topic. The one thing I hate the most about watching basketball these days is after every shot somebody gets up at the rim. They throw their hands up. Every time,
They complain too much, man.
Every time you go for a layup, if someone,
They all do it now. It's
like I hate that. I hate guys that go with the mindset of I want to get fouled here. Like just go up and play ball
and play ball, get the basket.
And if you get fouled, you get fouled.
Right. That's what I'm like.
I think the thing is they're so used to feeling any type of contact and getting a whistle that when they don't get the whistle, they're mad about it. But that'll all stop if you just stop giving them those whistles. You know what I mean? Like,
and that begs the question: was the chicken or the egg? What came first? Is it a ref issue or is it a player issue? What came first? Is it the chicken or the egg thing? And
when you watch the when you watch the Olympics, you watch that style of ball, that EuroLeague ball. Players aren't yelling at the officials every play because there's contact on every play that they're not calling. You know?
Right.
So if
That's a good point.
Calling a lot of this. If like a defender's moving a little bit, like technically it's a foul, but we could ruin the game by calling every single technical
every
foul,
little thing, man. We gotta bring physicality back into the NBA,
and it shows you that these players, they can adjust. They can adjust.
Right.
You know, like you said in the Olympics, Eastwood, they can adjust, right? It takes time, right? But they can adjust to the new flow of the refs, and like you said, those Olympic games, those international contests are way more physical. They're more fun. They're more. There's more strategy behind it. They can adjust. The league just has to decide what they want their product to look like. Like they can decide. They can change this very easily.